AITA for refusing to pick up my ex's daughter from school after discovering he secretly put me on her emergency contact list without asking me. I'm a 36-year-old woman. My ex, 38M, and I share custody of our 8-year-old son, 50/50ths. We alternate weeks, switching off every Sunday evening. On paper, it sounds simple, but anyone who's been through divorce and custody arrangements knows it's rarely that clean in reality. The truth is, my ex and I are not on good terms. The reason we split still sits like a lump in my chest, even though it's been nearly a decade. He cheated on me while I was pregnant with our son. Not just a fling. He had an affair with the woman who is now his wife. And out of that affair, a child was born, his daughter, who is also 8, conceived just months apart from my son. So yes, our children are twins of circumstance, though obviously not biologically. They're classmates, they're the same age, and they share the same father. But they do not share the same mother, and that makes all the difference to me. I've never had any kind of relationship with my ex's daughter. I don't speak to her. I don't spend time with her. I don't buy her gifts at Christmas or birthdays. I don't invite her over. She exists in my ex's household, and that is where she belongs. I don't blame her. She didn't ask to be born. She didn't ask to be the product of betrayal. But her existence is the living reminder of one of the most painful chapters of my life, and it's simply not something I want entwined with my daily existence. I've rebuilt my life since then. I have a stable home, a good job, and most importantly, I've built a strong relationship with my son. He's my world. Everything I do with his best interests at heart. I know some people believe siblings should always be treated as family no matter what. But in this case, I have been very intentional about drawing a line. My son is my responsibility. My ex's daughter is not. That boundary is non-negotiable. My ex, of course, sees things differently. He and his wife treat both children as siblings, which they are, technically, and I don't interfere with that. But he has always had a habit of trying to blur the boundaries, whether it's asking me to watch both kids just for a couple of hours, or trying to rope me into events that include his daughter. Every time, I've had to be firm. No, that's not my role. We communicate only through a parenting app. No texting, no calling unless it's an emergency, and no in-person conversations beyond the bare minimum at pickup and drop-off. That's the way I prefer it, because emotions run high otherwise. So, that's the backdrop. This happened about 2 weeks ago, on a Wednesday afternoon. It was my ex's week with our son. I was at work when my phone buzzed around 3:30 p.m. It was the school. The woman on the line said, "Hi, Ms. Opie. We're just calling because nobody has picked up your son yet. Would you be able to come get him?" Instantly, my heart dropped. I asked if everything was okay, and she said yes, but that all the other kids had already gone home, and he was still waiting. I didn't hesitate. I told her I'd be right there. I left work, got in my car, and drove straight to the school. The whole way there, I was thinking, why didn't his dad pick him up? Did something happen? Why didn't anyone call sooner? By the time I arrived, my adrenaline was pumping. When I walked into the office, I saw my son sitting in a chair, swinging his legs, backpack on his lap. He looked fine, just bored. Relief washed over me. But then I noticed something else. Sitting right next to him, with a teacher hovering nearby, was my ex's daughter. The teacher smiled when she saw me. "Oh good, you're here. They've both been waiting a while." I froze. "Both?" She said, "Yes, your ex's daughter too. You're listed on the pickup authorization for both kids, so if you could just take them, that would be great." It was like time stopped for a moment. My stomach flipped. My brain scrambled for words. "Wait, I'm on her pickup list?" I asked. She nodded matter-of-factly. "Yes, you're authorized for both." That's when I felt the anger start to simmer, because I had never, ever consented to being her emergency contact. Nobody asked me. Nobody told me. My ex and his wife had clearly just decided to put me down without my knowledge. I looked at the little girl. She looked back at me shyly. My son perked up and said, "Mom, can we go home now?" I turned to the teacher. My voice was polite but firm. "I'll be taking my son, but I am not responsible for her. Please remove me from her authorization list. I don't want to be called to pick her up in the future." The teacher blinked. "Oh, okay. I'll make a note of that." I signed the paperwork, took my son's hand, and we left. I didn't look back. That night, after dinner, my phone pinged with a message from my ex on the parenting app. "Why didn't you take daughter with you? You left her at school until 7. That's absolutely heartless." I stared at the message for a long time before responding. Finally, I wrote back. "I picked up my son. Your daughter is not my responsibility. Do not put me on her pickup list again." His reply came fast. "She's a child. You had room in your car. How could you just abandon her like that? You traumatized her." I didn't answer right away. My hands were shaking. Later, he messaged again. "You should be ashamed. What if it had been an emergency? What if she'd been scared? You had the chance to help, and you chose cruelty instead." I logged off after that. Since then, I've been wrestling with it. On a practical level, my stance is clear. I never agreed to this. Being added to her pickup list without my knowledge is a boundary violation. It's a slippery slope. If I pick her up once, suddenly I become the fallback option for his household. Next time, it's, oh, can you just watch her for a couple hours? Or, could you drop a both off at soccer? I know how this goes. It's emotionally loaded. I cannot look at that girl without remembering the betrayal. That's not her fault, but it's also not my burden to bear. And yet, she's 8. She's just a kid. My son's half-sister. I can picture her sitting in the office until 7 p.m., watching the clock, wondering if anyone would come. That image gnaws at me. Part of me thinks, what harm would it have done to just give her a ride home? It would have taken 15 extra minutes. My son probably would have liked it. She probably would have felt relieved. But then the other part of me says, no, that's how boundaries erode. That's how resentment grows. I'm not her parent. Her father and stepmother should have arranged for someone else. That's not my problem. It's a tug of war between empathy and self-protection. When I told my friends, the responses varied. One of my closest friends said, honestly, good for you. He doesn't get to dump his responsibilities on you. If you'd said yes once, he would have made it a habit. You drew the line. Another friend frowned and said, but she's a child. I know she's not your responsibility, but leaving her there until 7? That's brutal. My sister was harsher. She said, you're letting your anger at him spill onto an innocent girl. She didn't cheat on you. She didn't betray you. All she did was exist. But my best friend, who went through her own nasty divorce, sided with me. Nope, you did the right thing. Don't let guilt trick you into becoming their babysitter. You saved yourself a world of headaches. Even my mom chimed in when she heard about it. She said, honey, I understand why you feel the way you do. But children don't understand adult boundaries. She probably just felt unwanted. So I'm torn. I don't regret picking up my son. That's my duty, my joy, my non-negotiable. I will always show up for him, no matter whose week it is. But his daughter? That's not my job. And yet, when I picture her sitting there until dark, it stings. I can't tell if I was standing up for myself or if I was being cold. So, AITA for not picking up my ex's daughter from school when I picked up my son? Update. I've read through hundreds of comments, and while I can't respond to everyone, I wanted to thank you for the perspectives. Some of you were very blunt, which I needed, and some of you were incredibly compassionate. A lot has happened since then, so here's the update. 1. The school situation. I followed up with the school the day after my original post. I asked them directly to remove me from my ex's daughter's emergency pickup list. The office staff admitted my ex's wife had filled out the forms and listed me as an alternate guardian. They said they assumed I had agreed. I clarified very firmly that I had never consented to that, and they apologized. They assured me my name is now removed from anything related to his daughter. 2. Ex's wife. Predictably, my ex blew up again when he found out I had spoken to the school. He accused me of being vindictive and alienating siblings. His wife even messaged me through the parenting app because she somehow logged in on his account, saying, we thought you'd have some compassion for a child. You're cruel. I reported that message to the app mediator because she is not supposed to contact me directly. 3. My son. This part has been the hardest. My son did notice that I only picked him up that day and not his sister. He asked me about it once. Why didn't sister come with us? I kept it simple. I told him, because daddy is responsible for her and mommy is responsible for you. He seemed to accept that and didn't press further. I don't want to dump adult baggage on him. 4. Practical changes. After some back and forth through the mediator, my ex reluctantly agreed to make sure there's always a backup contact on his side for his daughter. That means his wife's family members, babysitters, etc. I told him that if the school ever calls me for my son during his custody time, I will continue to come get him, but I will never again be involved with his daughter's pickups. 5. My feelings now. I won't lie. Part of me still feels sad when I think about her waiting until 7 that night. She's just a kid caught in the crossfire of adults. But I've realized something important. Helping her in the moment doesn't erase the larger problem, which is my ex's irresponsibility. If I step in, I enable it. Setting the boundary isn't cruel, it's necessary. So, where things stand now, the school knows, my ex is furious, his wife is salty, and I have peace of mind knowing the boundary is clear. Thank you all again. The comments really helped me sort through guilt versus responsibility. I don't hate that little girl, but she's not mine. My energy has to stay focused on my son. I don't think I'm the asshole. I think I'm a mom doing her best to parent her child without being manipulated into parenting someone else's.